You may be wondering why anyone would fall in love with a female covert narcissist, given her nature and bad behavior. I'm Lise Leblanc, therapist, author, and life coach, and today I'm talking about 10 reasons that you, as a man, may find yourself repeatedly getting involved with a female covert narcissist. My channel is focused on helping men identify and deal with narcissistic traits and behaviors in women, as well as how to heal from these types of narcissistic relationships. I also make videos for women and some that are not gender specific, but the reason that I focus mostly on men is because in my 25-year career as a therapist and clinical supervisor, I've found that there are not enough resources out there for men who are victims of narcissistic abuse or any type of relationship abuse. In one of my most popular videos, I talk about the ideal target for a female narcissist, and I call him Phil. If you missed this video, please click on the link above to watch it. So to recap, Phil is a genuinely good person with some great qualities. He has a strong instinct to protect his loved ones and will go to extreme lengths to safeguard, defend, and protect his loved ones. He tends to be attracted to women who appear vulnerable and in great need of help and protection. So he also has a need to be needed. He wants to fix, rescue, and save others. And he offers emotional support, financial assistance, and takes on the responsibility of other people's problems, giving the shirt off of his back. And he gains most of his satisfaction and self-worth by being of service and prioritizing the needs of others above his own. Essentially, Phil exemplifies the qualities that many women are seeking in a partner. But for the female narcissist, she can sniff these things out like nobody's business and exploit them. And while we can blame the narcissist, there are instances where Phil repeatedly finds himself falling for narcissistic women. And in these cases, it's important to identify the reasons why this might be happening. So here are 10 of the potential reasons that you might be repeatedly getting involved with narcissists. So it's in no particular order, and if you think of more, feel free to add them in the comment section below. Number 1 is social conditioning. Cultural norms influence men to develop a strong desire to rescue vulnerable women as a way of fulfilling their conventional societal roles as a provider and protector. Number 2, role models. So during our formative years, we look to our parents and other authority figures as our role models on what relationships would look like. So if you grew up witnessing codependent relationships, you believe this is normal and you may internalize these behaviors and relationship patterns. Number 3, positive reinforcement. So if a man is rewarded for his rescuing efforts, it reinforces the idea that this type of behavior makes him valuable and worthy, and next thing you know, his self-worth becomes dependent on meeting the needs and pleasing others. Number 4 is unrealistic expectations. So romantic ideals about love can contribute to the deep desire to find intense, ideal, or perfect love. And in the movies and storybooks, the knight in shining armor almost always finds true love by rescuing the damsel in distress. This portrayal of love can shape unrealistic expectations about relationships. Number 5, highly empathetic and emotionally sensitive men are very susceptible to falling prey to a covert narcissist. Why? Because empathetic individuals are more in tune with the feelings of others and the needs of others. And the covert narcissist genuinely sees themselves as a victim, as someone who is in desperate need of help, and they are ill and you do feel sorry for them. But unfortunately, this empathy makes you more susceptible to manipulation from those who are willing to exploit your ability to understand and your desire to support and ease their suffering. I'm sure you know by now that covert narcissists are incredibly skilled at playing the victim, guilt tripping, and gaslighting, which confuses and often blinds empathetic individuals, making them more likely to stay in the relationship despite numerous red flags and bad behavior. Number 6 is personal insecurities. Some men may be attracted to people with big problems as a way to mask their own insecurities and avoid confronting their own issues. By being the helper and the rescuer, it can be a way for some men to avoid vulnerability and divert attention away from their own challenges with emotional intimacy or whatever by deflecting it onto their problematic partner. Number 7 is conflict avoidance. So most people don't love conflict. In fact, many try to avoid conflict. And there's a lot of reasons for this, which I won't get into in this video. But conflict-averse people typically refrain from confronting negative behaviors or attitudes. And if they do, they will often back down easily when the narcissist doubles down on them. So instead of standing up for themselves, they try to please and appease and get ahead of any conflict that could possibly arise. So it's like an intricate juggling act where they're trying to keep all the balls in the air, trying to avoid any of them from falling. Number 8 is your own need for control could lead you to wanting to take on that hero role in an attempt to ensure that you can maintain a sense of predictability. And this can be the case if you've faced complex trauma in childhood or adolescence. Number 9 is a lack of boundaries. So men who struggle with setting boundaries and saying no are likely to overextend themselves and be very self-sacrificing, leading to a pattern of excessive rescuing behavior. Number 10, you had narcissistic parents who conditioned you to accept psychological abuse as normal. And one more possibility, if you are repeatedly finding yourself in narcissistic relationships, it's worth considering the potential that you might have NPD or have narcissistic traits and behaviors that are contributing to the breakdown of your relationships. Self-awareness is critical when it comes to assessing your role in the recurring relationship patterns that you're having. While it is entirely possible that genuine empathy and a deep desire to be a good person and to help others has led you into narcissistic relationships, it is also critical to recognize the factors that might be causing you to enable bad behavior and put up with bad behavior, keeping you stuck in a relationship and trying to help someone who doesn't even want to be helped. So to demonstrate this concept a little further, I want to read you a short testimony of one man who, after a few coaching sessions, wrote back to talk about his realizations around his role in his toxic relationship patterns. So here's what he said. Our connection seemed to be love at first sight. It truly felt magical, like I'd found my soulmate. But I now realize it was a trauma bond. In hindsight, the rapid and intense emotions we experienced were not healthy. All I wanted to do was take care of her, help her, and protect her. I wanted to make her smile, make her happy, and be her hero. I got such an emotional high from this. Everything about her made me want to invest fully and pour myself into her. I didn't stop to think about anything else. This profoundly passionate experience, combined with the deeply intimate sex, created a powerful mix of emotions and brain chemistry. I'd never felt anything like it before. I remember moments of intense eye contact during sex, especially the first time, where it seemed like she was surrendering herself to me completely. This made me feel like a god. The fact that this incredibly beautiful, stunning woman was opening up to me and giving herself to me was overwhelming. I was captivated by her, and she played into all of my weaknesses. I was so hooked. As we spent more time together, things started to get chaotic and complicated. Eventually, I broke things off, which was the hardest thing I've ever done. It's been a year since we broke up, and I still feel like I failed her. I feel broken in some ways. I have spent countless hours replaying things in my mind, dissecting every aspect of the relationship and of her, as well as examining myself in an effort to protect myself from this type of codependency in the future. I realize that I have a savior complex. It's not the first time that I've wanted to save a woman from further harm. In this specific relationship, I wanted to save her from all of the abuses she'd suffered related to her ex-husband, her brother, her mother, her job, her depression and anxiety, her body image issues, low self-worth, and so on. Her list of problems and traumas was extensive. Being there for her and easing her suffering felt really good at first. It made me feel very happy to help her and to hear her laugh. But I started to feel resentful because I was overextending myself, trying to please her and solve all of her problems. I was 100% focused on her, and she was 100% dependent on me. It became too much, but because I didn't want to let her down, upset her, or create conflict, I didn't say too much. I guess I didn't feel like I could speak up because I was already conditioned in childhood to walk on eggshells. I only understood much later that my strong desire to be her hero and to be indispensable to her, as well as my early conditioning around trying to please and appease my mother, had contributed to the formation of this codependency. Without this realization, I believe that I would continue to be susceptible and at high risk of entering another narcissistic relationship. So, as you can see, it takes courage to reflect and realize your own role in the recurring problems and patterns in your life. And if you're willing to do this, I would highly suggest finding a good therapist in your area who can really challenge you on some of your core beliefs and some of your old conditioning that might be contributing to keeping you attracted to or stuck in narcissistic relationships. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and to learn more about the female covert narcissists tactics, click on the link above.